Hello and welcome to today's presentation. We're here tonight to talk about everything you need to know to be prepared for fall quarter at Walla Walla University. Over the last few weeks, we've gone over the ins and outs of living on our campus and gone through the steps of the financial clearance process. If you happen to miss out on any of those presentations or want to review some information, you can find recordings for these at wallawalla.edu/workshops. Again, that's wallawalla.edu/workshops. My name is Trevor Congleton, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Marketing and Enrollment Services. I'm here to introduce our subject experts and help answer any questions you may have along the way. Today, we have several subject experts with us. We've got Carrie Butler, one of our financial aid counselors, and she's here to talk about finances and student employment. And then we also have Anthony Handel, who's our Director for Residential Life and Housing, who will be also talking about some of the housing-related questions. And I'll be helping along the way to cover the rest and make sure that our panel covers the questions that I hear most often from new students and their families. At any time during this presentation, if you have a question, you can ask it by typing it in the chat box. We'll get to all of your questions at the end of this presentation, which should take us about 30 minutes or so. If you'd like to download the slides I'll be covering in this presentation, you can download them through the link in the panel on the right side of your screen. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's get started by talking about MyWWU. You've probably already had some interaction with this, but it's pretty important, so I want to make sure everyone is on the same page. MyWWU is our online student portal. This is where you can see your class schedule, your account balance, information about financial aid, account transactions, your grades, and how much you spend at the cafeteria or express. This is also where you begin the financial clearance process and where you finalize registration during Jumpstart. So like I said, pretty important. Right now, the most important thing for you is to watch your to-do list. You can access this list in MyWWU, and it notes the things that you have left to do before the year begins. You can click on each item for more information, and there are usually instructions for how to complete the task. As soon as you are accepted, you should have received login instructions for MyWWU and were asked to choose a password. If you've never logged in before, you'll find that it's pretty easy. For most of you, your username will be your first name, period, last name, and whatever password you chose. If you do happen to have problems logging in, or you never created a password or can't remember the password you picked, you can contact the IT help desk by phone or email. When you send them an email, include your name, WWU ID number, and your phone number in case they need to call you. Parents, the help desk will only talk to students about their account info, so if they need assistance, they'll need to be the ones to make the call. All students are given a wallawalla.edu email address, and it's important that you check it regularly. You'll receive lots of important information to that particular email. So once classes begin, this is the only email address that the university will send email to because we want to make sure that you're getting it and seeing it. One thing you might be seeing on your to-do list right now is financial clearance. Carrie, can you recap a little bit about what financial clearance is and what families should be working on right now in terms of finances?
Sure, Trevor. If you haven't finished your financial aid application, you should do that immediately. Right now, we're able to respond to you fairly quickly, oftentimes within a couple of days of submitting your application. But as we get closer to school starting, that delay will increase. If we're missing anything from you for this process, it will be on the to-do list that Trevor just mentioned. Now, if you have questions about financial clearance, I recommend watching a video of the presentation we did last week about the process. We cover everything in detail there. But to quickly review, financial clearance is a process that all students go through each quarter. It checks to make sure that you've made your down payment and completed any necessary forms for financial aid. The process is open right now for fall quarter, so if you haven't completed it yet, now's a good time to do it. It's a pretty straightforward process, and it shouldn't take you much time. The first time will take a little bit longer, mostly because students will have loan forms to complete and permissions to review. But after you make your down payment, it's about a 90-second process. The deadline to complete financial clearance is 4 p.m. on the Wednesday before classes begin. If you haven't completed financial clearance by then, you'll be dropped from your classes. And you can always register for classes again, but the class you want may have been filled from the wait list in the meantime. You can know for sure that you're done with financial clearance when you see Bouncing Ben. And when you see him, you can know you've finished up and your classes are protected from dropping. Once you've registered for classes and completed financial clearance, you're eligible to get your ID card. Freshmen will get their ID cards during the week of Jumpstart, and you will need proof of identity, such as a driver's license, to get that ID card. Once your ID card is activated, which will happen after you've completed registration finalization, you can use it to charge meals in the cafeteria, books and supplies from the bookstore, and treats at the Express. The Express is a small mini mart and gas station. You'll also use your ID card to access your dorm room and buildings, such as the gym and the library, and it is actually good for getting student discounts around places around town.
Something else you might be seeing on your to-do list, and something you can be working on right now, is the TB screening form. Speaking of health, a complete physical is not required, but is definitely recommended for new students. All new students and students who have spent time outside the United States or Canada during the past year will need to fill out the TB form. The form consists of 6 questions and has step-by-step instructions. We encourage students who are identified by the screen as needing further evaluation to be seen by their primary care provider and have the form completed prior to coming to Walla Walla University. Also, students are required to have health insurance, which is a federal law. Walla University does not offer a health insurance policy for students to purchase, except for those that are international students. International students will be charged for a specific health insurance plan that we've arranged with a provider. Also, for those of you that are in the US and have insurance, you'll want to make sure that your insurance covers providers that are within a 25-mile radius of Walla Walla. Or if you're attending at a different campus, perhaps Portland for nursing or something like that, you want to make sure that there's a healthcare provider that's in close proximity, just in case anything happens while you're on campus. We want to make sure that you're well cared for. Right now, many students may be thinking about finding a job on campus. Carrie, can you tell us a bit about what a student should do to find a job?
Many students don't get a job until they arrive for Jumpstart, so don't panic if you don't have a job yet. Many employers want to see your class schedule and the class schedule of returning employees before they commit to new hires. But there are a few things you can do right now to get ready. First of all, complete an online job application. This will be the first step for any on-campus job, and the same application can be used for any job you find. You don't need to complete a new application for each job on campus. Second, watch the job scene, our online job listing, to check for available jobs. If you see any that are interesting to you, contact the department and let them know. You can also contact our office and have us forward a copy of the application you've already filled out. And next, once you have a job, there's some paperwork to complete. All students will need to complete an I-9 form. This is used to confirm your identity as well as your eligibility to work. So when you're packing to come to school, make sure you have some form of ID, like a driver's license, and you'll also need a document that proves you are eligible for work, right to work. And this could be a birth certificate or maybe a social security card. If you have a valid U.S. passport, that can be used for both requirements. These need to be original documents. We can't use a photocopy. You'll need to complete a W-4 form, and that tells us how many exemptions you're claiming for tax purposes. You'll also need to provide your bank account information. We require either a voided check or a screen print of your bank account and routing number from your online banking profile. And if you're under 18, your parent will need to sign a form authorizing you to work. You can find all the details about working on campus at wallawalla.edu/student-employment. You may notice on the job scene that some jobs are listed as work-study jobs. Walla Walla University participates in 2 work-study programs. One is offered by the U.S. federal government and one by the state of Washington. Only students with work-study award in their financial aid package are eligible for these positions. For the Washington State Work-Study Program, you must be a Washington State resident. In a work-study job, the employer receives the funds from the government to help pay student wages, and this has helped expand the number of jobs available. All our on-campus jobs are open to all full-time students. The work-study eligibility requirements are for off-campus jobs that are listed as work-study. Students are paid every other week, and the first time you get paid or any time you change your bank account information, your wages will get applied to your student account. And the reason for this is because the payroll system is sending a test message to your bank to confirm the bank account information. Every payday after that, your paycheck will be automatically deposited into your bank account. However, if you want all or a part of your paycheck to be applied to your student account, you can certainly set that up with student employment.
While we're talking about student wages, Carrie, can you remind us a bit about Bank Mobile and how students interact with it? I know that you talked for quite a bit of time last week about Bank Mobile, but for those that may have missed it, I think it'd be helpful for you to chat a little bit about it.
Sure, Trevor. Bank Mobile is the bank we use to disperse funds from your student account. And after you go through the financial clearance process, you're going to receive a green envelope from Bank Mobile in the mail, as well as email reminders asking you to set up your disbursement method. And they'll want to know if you want disbursements sent as a paper check deposited into an existing bank account, or do you want to open a Bank Mobile Vibe checking account. We recommend that you choose the deposit to have the disbursement deposited into an existing bank account. An example of when you would request a disbursement might be when that first paycheck has been applied to your student account. If you want that money in your bank account instead, you could request those funds and they would be dispersed to you through whatever Bank Mobile process you've chosen.
Thanks, Carrie. I'd like to pivot for just a minute and have Anthony talk to us. So Anthony, would you tell us a bit about Jumpstart and when students can move into the residence halls? By the way, a little side note, previously we gave a full presentation about 2 weeks ago all about residential housing. So if you have more questions about housing after this, I definitely recommend that you watch the recording at wallawalla.edu/workshops for lots of helpful information. So Anthony, tell us about Jumpstart and about moving into the residence halls.
Jumpstart is a required week of orientation for all new freshmen. It starts September 22. During this week, students get the chance to worship together, get to know each other, attend helpful presentations, and take care of tasks such as financial clearance and lining up a job, and meeting with their academic advisors. You can register for Jumpstart at wallawalla.edu/Jumpstart. The fee for Jumpstart includes all your meals, lodging for the week, as well as a guidebook for the week, and 1 hour of college credit. All students should bring a mobile device like a smartphone, iPad, or laptop for use during the sessions you will be attending. We'll start allowing students to move in on that Sunday for Jumpstart. If you have not yet signed up for a move-in time, you can do that at wallawalla.edu/housing, and we'll send you all the information you need for that process. Offices around campus will be open to assist you and your parents in checking off items, the last items on your to-do list. The bookstore will also be open, but we recommend students wait until after they've met with their academic advisor to purchase their books. Later, during Jumpstart Week, the bookstore will have a special time for freshmen to purchase their textbook. If you haven't yet made housing arrangements and you're planning to be in the residence halls, you should fill out the residence hall housing application online. Of course, you have to be accepted and have paid the enrollment fee before we assign you to a room. If you're not going to be living in the dorm, you will need to complete a village housing approval form that tells us where you'll be living. As a general rule, we expect our incoming freshmen to live in the residence halls unless they meet one of the exceptions listed on the screen. If you're eligible to live outside the residence hall and have not applied for housing, please complete an online application at wallawalla.edu/housing. All of our students are automatically enrolled in our system called OmniAlert. This is our emergency campus alert system. In an emergency, students will receive alerts via text messages and emails. In addition, our campus siren will sound. Parents are able to opt in to also receive these alerts by providing their contact info at wallawalla.edu/OmniAlert. They will receive the same messages as our students. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about what the move-in process will look like. This is one of my favorite times of year. It's like Christmas in September. The Residence Life staff have spent a little over a week training and preparing themselves in the residence halls for you to move in and make that move-in a smooth transition. On the day of your move-in, please arrive at the designated check-in area. Residence hall staff will greet you and assist you in filling out housing documents. Once checked in, residents may begin to move into the residence hall and unpack with those assisting you. Additional information such as maps of designated check-in areas and short-term, long-term parking will be sent out closer to move-in day. If you have any questions about this, just drop them in the chat box now, and we'll answer them at the end. We'll be sending out more detailed information to you as we get closer to move-in day.
Thanks, Anthony. Most of our incoming freshmen and transfer students are likely already registered for classes and should be able to see the classes they registered for in MyWU. If you're not yet signed up for classes, be sure to book an appointment with academic advisement at wallawalla.edu/getmyclasses. Once I'm done talking, I'll go ahead and put that in the chat box so you guys can access that link. If you signed up for classes, but they aren't showing up in MyWU, make sure that you've paid your enrollment fee. If you've paid that fee but still aren't seeing your classes, make sure you give academic advisement a call and we'll work it out with you. If you want to make changes to your class schedule, you can call the academic advising office, or you can wait until Jumpstart Week when you meet with your academic advisor. That's a great time to discuss changes. All students are assigned an advisor, and if you're attending Jumpstart, we've already set up an appointment for you to meet with them during that Jumpstart Week. Another thing that we offer our students are mentors, which is another great resource for students. We've got a mentoring program that focuses on individualized support and encouragement as students transition from high school to college. Mentors assist in helping students take ownership and responsibility for their college education and career goals. They're also trained to provide a curriculum that encourages a balanced experience of academics, spiritual life, and social life. You'll get to choose your mentor during Jumpstart, and during the rest of your freshman year, you will meet regularly with them about once a week to talk about how your classes are going, the deadlines that you've got coming up, what your academic goals are, and what campus or community resources might be beneficial for your success. Students that have gone through this program tell us that having a mentor really helps them feel connected and supported. And we found that freshmen who meet regularly with a mentor are more likely to stay in college. They also get more out of their classes, and overall, they just have a better college experience. Also during Jumpstart Week, you'll go through a process called registration finalization. This is a final review process that you access on MyWU, and it ensures that you've done everything needed to become a student at Walla Walla University. This process checks to make sure you've completed financial clearance, been assigned to classes, and met with your advisor. When you've completed this process, you'll see Jumping Einstein, who you can see on the screen. This indicates that you finalized your enrollment and your ID card is now electronically validated for charging. This also means that you'll be able to sign up for clubs. You won't actually be able to see Jumping Einstein on the first day of Jumpstart, so don't worry if you don't see that yet. And the reason for this is because Jumpstart is a transition period. You now as a student are starting to take responsibility, and your parents will no longer be taking care of everything for you. During Jumpstart Week, after you've met with your advisor and completed any remaining items on the to-do list, you'll be able to finalize registration and see Jumping Einstein on your own.
After Jumpstart is over and we move into the school year, parents often want to know information about their student, usually what their account balance is and what their grades are. However, the university can't share this kind of information with anyone except you, the student. There's a federal law called the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which is more commonly known as FERPA. This federal law applies to a student starting the first day of classes. So through Sunday, prior to the first day of classes, we can talk with parents. However, once classes start, we have to have the student's permission. And of course, we will be very careful what information we share prior to classes starting. This law applies to all areas of campus, but it's with finances that most parents run into this issue. We need to have your permission before we can talk to your parent about your account. We also have to have your permission before we can mail a paper statement to your parent. It is easy for you to grant permission. On MyWU, you can tell us who we can talk to, who we should send a statement to, or who we should send email reminders to. And you can say who we should not talk to. You can also choose to have statements mailed to multiple people. and authorize other users to see electronic statements. This is also why your parent can't call to reset your password. Because of FERPA, the help desk can only reset the password if you, the student, contacts them. If a parent wants to see your grades, they have to get them from you. We don't mail grade reports to your parents, and you will be able to see your grades on the MyWWU application as soon as the teacher has submitted a grade. You get to see the grades the same time that we see them.
All right, that's just about all the topics that we've planned to cover tonight. We have a complete list of steps to enrollment that you can follow to make sure you've done everything you need to. This list can be found at wallawalla.edu/new steps. You can see it on the screen there, the link. This list will give you general instructions on how to complete each step. And if you ever have any questions, you can call our office and we'll be happy to help you out. Also, don't forget to check the to-do list in your MyWWU account for your personalized and actively updating enrollment steps. All right, thank you both Carrie and Anthony for helping with the information that you've shared tonight. We're almost ready to start taking some questions. So be sure to type them into the chat box. I've seen them coming in through the presentation, so really appreciate it. That chat box on the right side of your screen. But before we get to those, I want to point out some important dates for everyone to keep in mind. As Anthony mentioned, the residence halls will be open for move-in on Sunday, September 22nd. Jumpstart begins on Sunday, September 22nd and goes until Friday, September 27th. This is an important week of orientation for all new first-time college students. All incoming freshmen are required to attend. If you haven't yet signed up or registered for Jumpstart, make sure you do so, and you can do that at wallawalla.edu/jumpstart. By Wednesday, September 25th at 4 p.m., you should have paid your down payment, completed any necessary paperwork for student loans, and have signed your financial clearance online. Student Financial Services likely has already sent you an email on what you need to do. These emails went primarily to the incoming students, so students, be sure that you're checking your emails regularly. We also gave a presentation 1 week ago walking you through each and every step of the financial clearance process, and a recording of that presentation is available at wallawalla.edu/workshop. So feel free to watch that as you're filling it out. It's very helpful. So if you get hit with questions that you're not sure how to answer them or what it is asking specifically, that presentation is very critical. Also then on Thursday, September 26th, we've got a transfer student orientation session. Our academic advisement office will be sending out information about this to transfer students as it gets closer. So transfer students, Jumpstart is not a requirement for you, but you want to make sure that you're here for that Thursday orientation so you can start the fall quarter on the right foot. Then on Sunday, September 29th, you should have completed your registration finalization, seen Jumping Einstein, and purchased textbooks. Then on Monday, September 30th, you begin your college education at Walla Walla University. On the screen now, we've got some phone numbers that you might find helpful if you have any questions after this presentation. If you're only going to write down one number, make sure you write down that toll-free number at the top that's highlighted. The reason for that is that if you call that number during regular business hours, 8 to 5 p.m., Monday through Thursday, and then 8 to noon on Friday, we'll have an actual person that answers that, and they can help connect you with the right place that you need to go to help you with what your question is. All right, let's go ahead and open up to the question and answer portion. I'll be asking Carrie and Anthony, our Director for Residential Life and Housing, to join me depending upon the question that's asked. So make sure to type your question in the chat box on the right side of the screen. Oh, and I forgot to turn on my camera, so I'll turn it on now. All right, the first question looks like it's going to be for Carrie. Carrie, you mentioned we can use our ID cards at the Express. What is the Express, and is it connected to our meal plan or Flex Dollars?
The Express is a Shell station and mini mart owned by Walla Walla University. You can use your ID card to charge up to $80 a month, and you can buy gas, snack food, or order something at the Vegetarian Grill. I highly recommend the Yogi sandwiches and the Haystacks. You can't use your meal plan or Flex Dollars there, but you will be able to see your total spending on MyWWU.
Carrie, can you talk briefly about Flex Dollars? Because I know that there's some questions about that as students are going through the financial clearance process, and there's different options for them to choose from. And one of them is just the meals in the cafeteria, and then there's like meals with Flex. And so I know it's helpful to tell people what that is.
Sure, absolutely. I'm glad to review that. So the difference between, say, a gold plan and a gold flex plan is that the gold plan is going to be all meals in the cafeteria. The gold flex plan is going to be a certain number of meals in the cafeteria, and then you'll have a certain number of flex dollars. The flex dollars you can use for additional meals in the cafeteria, or you can use it downstairs at the Student Activities Center, also known as the SAC. And that they have more snack shop options, so you might want some cheese sticks or a sandwich, or to grab a smoothie and then run to class. So it just gives students a little more flexibility.
Perfect. Thank you for that answer, Carrie. All right, next question is, are new students required to have a mentor? I'm going to take that one since I talked about it in the presentation. Yes, all freshmen and new transfer students will have a mentor. Our studies show that having a mentor improves your success at WWU. And we've also noticed that oftentimes people who don't initially want a mentor are the ones who end up benefiting the most from it. You kind of think of them as your cheerleader. And so it's a really good program. I did it in their trial year, so I fully believe in it. And I think it's helpful to like almost all the students that participate in it. Next question. This one looks like it's going to be for you again, Carrie. I'm from Canada. Can I work on campus?
Yes, as long as you have a student visa, you can work on campus. If you're not a U.S. resident, you cannot work off campus. Your student visa does not allow a spouse or children to work.
Great, thanks, Carrie. All right, let's see. Question, another one is, are you required to have Microsoft Office installed on your computer? Does Walla University provide Microsoft Office? So it is not a requirement that you have Microsoft Office, although I think it would be very helpful to you as a student. And I believe actually if you go and talk to our IT department when you're here, last I heard, I believe that they can give you a student package of it. And I think that's free if I remember right. And so you can have that while you're a student. I'd highly recommend it. It will make your life easier, but you can, if you're more comfortable with another like word processing software, you could likely use that as well. But most everybody's using Microsoft Office. Let's see. Next question is going to be for Carrie. What type of financial aid do non-Canadian international students have access to?
Non-Canadian international students. So we do have an international scholarship that guarantees that you will receive up to $18,000 or $18,500 in a scholarship. This could be a combination of maybe an achievement award and some other scholarships, and then the international scholarship would fill in the gap up to $18,500. But we do guarantee our international students who do not have dual residency, U.S. citizenship along with residency from another country, we do guarantee them $18,500.
Great, thank you, Carrie. Let's see, and I don't know if you're gonna know this off the top of your head, Carrie. Do you know how much minimum wage is? It keeps changing in Washington State. Do you know off the top of your head? If you don't, I did look it up.
Currently, minimum wage is $16.28 an hour.
I knew you'd know. Good job.
And there is talk about an increase, but I don't have official word on that. So it's only going to get better.
Yeah, they never roll that back, I don't think. So you can make quite a bit as a student, and that amount of money can really help pay for part of it towards your school bill, as well as any expenses you might have while you're here. All right, next question is, I saw something today about the final day to apply for a room with your roommate. Is that true? Anthony, is today a deadline for getting a roommate?
Well, we're close to it. Basically, sometime in the next 48 hours, you'll need to apply for a roommate in a room. You do all of that through our online software, Housing Cloud. That's wallawalla.housing.cloud. And you're able to get in there, check your portal out. That's, again, if you've finished through the application process and you're at the housing stage. And you notify roommates that you want to room with them. And both of you guys list on there saying, yes, we'd like to room with each other, and you get assigned a room together. So yeah, after that, we're in a window that prioritizes individuals who have already signed up, and we have to accommodate for incoming individuals. And so we assign rooms from that point out.
Got it. Thank you. That's super helpful. Next question, which you can stay right here because it's another housing related one. For Thanksgiving break, When do you have to be out of your dorm, and when can you check back in? Same question for Christmas break, and of course, I'm guessing as well, maybe spring break.
Good question. So we actually stay open for Thanksgiving break and spring break. Those are the two long holiday breaks that we are open for. So in those, we are open to accommodate students who may not be able to travel. So that might be more specific to your particular situation. When you finish with tests or your accomplishments, or your supervisor says that's the last thing I need, at that point, you are probably welcome to leave, as long as you have notified the residence halls that you will be vacating for the entirety of the break. And the same thing about on your return. And then as far as Christmas break goes, the day after tests, the last day after tests is when we will actually close down the residence halls, and all residents are required to leave. And then we are open the Friday before school starts. And so those are the 2 dates that you can plan on, so that, every year with the dates being changed, you can always plan on the Friday prior to school starting again after Christmas break. You can move back into residence halls.
Great, thank you, Anthony. Here's another question. I'd love your wisdom on the SDA experience for non-SDA students. We identify as Christian, though, and our son went to Christian Catholic schools from K through 12 and a Christian prep school. Would love your wisdom. Well, I don't know how much wisdom I have to give, but I can kind of tell you what I've heard over the years. I've worked here at the university for over 15 years, I think now. Generally, I think that we have more in common than we have different. I think that's a good rule of thumb. And I think that one thing that we find from students that come from all different walks of life, we have obviously quite a few SDA students, but we also have students that are Catholic, non-denominational Christian, and we actually over the years have even had some atheist students that have come through. And the thing that we hear from them is how much they appreciate our community, and that we really try to wrap our arms around any student that is here. Obviously, we've got some things that are requirements for students, such as getting worship credits and different things like that while they're here. They also have to take a certain number of religious or Bible classes before they graduate. But the important thing is that, we want to learn from you, and we want you to learn from us as well. The world outside of Wall University, when you graduate, is going to be filled with people from all different walks of life. And so we very much embrace students that are non-SDA. What I would say is, if you're a non-SDA student and you have questions about something while you're here, or you hear about haystacks or something like that, that's kind of a Adventist staple, don't be afraid to ask and say, hey, what do you guys mean by that? Let us know. We're here to help you every step of the way. But that would be my recommendation. Carrie or Anthony, anything else to add to that?
I would say that there's a wide array of types of programs that you can involve yourself in, and different experiences with fellow students. And there are also clubs that aren't necessarily specifically religious, but offer a sense of community that also has a religious component to it. And so our encouragement is to get involved with your fellow students and other people, and experience the community that is available to you here. There really are a lot of options.
Yeah. Carrie, anything in addition?
Just my observation, we have students, as you've already stated, from all kinds of backgrounds, Muslim, Sikh, Jewish.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had all kinds of backgrounds here. And I think it's just in general a very caring community, and that people feel embraced. So.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention too, we don't require students to go to church. So there's nobody there checking them in on Sabbath morning. And so we don't have something like that, but there's lots of different ways to get involved with worship. Lots of different Vespers programs, which are religious programmings in the evenings that students can get involved in and fill their spiritual cup, as it were. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with your experience. And like I said, if you have any questions about stuff as you're going through, don't hesitate to ask people. We're happy to share. We're happy to explain something if you need it by chance. Okay, next question is, we also wanted to take a tour before the university starts. Where do we go to sign up for someone to take us on a tour? You can reach out to our guest relations department, and the person for that is going to be Mindy Coleman. Chris, would you mind putting Mindy's email address in the chat box? Chris is the one that's running the presentation behind the scenes. And we'll put that there. You can email Mindy and just say like, hey, we'd love to get a tour as we show up for school, and she can help set that up for you. Let's see. Next question. Looks like this is going to be a Carrie question. We don't have our financial packet due to the post 9/11 GI Bill VA certification by the school. Should we be worried about this not being done, and will it prevent our child from enrolling on time?
Well, I would say reach out to the VA first to make sure you have that information. The school does need to get that. I would contact Jerry Ency. He's our registrar. He also works with our VA students. Another good person to talk with would be Anna Perez here in Student Financial Services. And mostly we just need to get the information through, but I think there's probably still time to get everything in place and get through financial clearance. So let's just keep working on it.
Yep, we've got about a little over a month before that financial clearance has to happen. And so there's still some time to work on it, and hopefully we'll be able to get that all figured out. But like Carrie mentioned, feel free to reach out if you need any help along the way. All right, next question is going to be for Anthony. Anthony, when will room numbers be assigned?
Well, you can actually select your own room, at least for the next couple of the next day or so. Important with that is you do need to select a roommate. Now, if you have been to school here before, or have a group of friends is coming, that can oftentimes be easier for you because you might know somebody from your previous school. But if you don't, you can actually get onto Housing Cloud and onto your dashboard there. Click to select a roommate, and there is a lot of information there about different individuals and some of their interests, and you might be able to pair up with one of them and request to be roommates with them. If you do that, then you can select a room, and that is a requirement prior to you being able to select which room you want. If you're not really sure, you can submit a request saying, I don't know who I want to have as a roommate, but I do have a room preference, and you can list those there, and we'll accommodate individuals as well as we can.
And just a reminder, Anthony, who should they reach out to for that?
So the best way to do that, if you get onto your Housing Cloud portal, right next to your profile, there's a button there that says requests. And we have individuals who are assigned to check that on a daily basis, probably within 24 hours. Most of our tasks are being completed. And so you should have someone respond to you right away who can get that information to you. And that's probably the fastest. If you do want to talk to a person, you can always call the residence halls. And you're going to be talking to a person who's going to take your name, number down, and try to get somebody back to you as soon as possible. You can send us an email, residencehalls@wallawalla.edu, and those are going to be the fastest ways that we can resolve your issue.
Great, thank you. Sorry, I was typing in the chat box. Okay, let's see. Next question, Anthony, you might as well stay here because it's another housing one. We got a couple, so don't run off too fast. What time on Sunday can we begin to move in?
Yeah, that's a great question. 9 o'clock. That's usually when we are set up and ready to go and are prepared with everybody at their station for individuals to come in and get what they need to. So yeah, 9 o'clock on that Sunday is a great time for you to show up.
And Anthony, for those that are coming from a farther distance away, what does that look like for move-in time? And
yeah, that's a great question.
At least they can move in, I guess.
You can actually, on our website, you can actually select a early move-in request. And individuals who live 400 miles away, it's usually an automatic approval for those individuals. And you can move in on that Friday, the Friday prior to that September 22, so September 20, you could move in 9 o'clock and yeah, request that time.
Great, thanks, Anthony. All right, next question is, if I go to the online bookstore, can I see what textbooks I need for my classes, or do we have to get textbooks during Jumpstart? So we mentioned earlier that like our recommendation is to wait until Jumpstart to purchase your textbooks, particularly after you've had a chance to meet with your advisor. The reason for that is in case something changes, or maybe your advisor is like, hey, I think, based upon your situation, I really like to see you get into this class. If you already purchased your textbooks, that'll be challenging for you to get different ones. So our best advice is to wait until the Jumpstart week to get your textbooks. And do that after you've met with your advisor. Yeah, that's just a recommendation, but you are welcome to do whichever route you want. But I'd say that the way we recommend is probably the easiest way to do it. All right, Anthony, another question for you. I don't know who my roommate will be, so I'm not able to finish the financial clearance process. Do you know when you're going to be pairing people maybe that don't have a roommate?
Yeah, that'll start as soon as our room selection period closes, which is happening here again, like within the next 48 hours. So if you need to select a roommate, again, there are several profiles that are available for you there on your dashboard, and you can click on different people and see, 10 to 15 different questions that they've answered and how they've answered it, and see if you can find a roommate to pair with. And if not, shortly after that, we'll begin pairing individuals who are unsure of who they want to room with.
Great. And then a follow-up for that, is there an online map or plan showing where the dorm rooms are located?
There isn't yet, but you can call the residence halls, and we'll have a person that can either provide you with a map or can actually describe the rooms for you in a way so that you know which room you're getting, whether that is, north side for the shade, or street side for the view, or the inside for the quiet, depending what you're looking for.
Great. Next question is, does Walla Walla provide a free Creative Cloud account for students like Adobe products? I don't know the answer to this one. I don't believe that we offer a free suite to students. I think that might be a little bit different if your major is, say, graphic design or something like that. And likely, like at worst, you get a student discount on those things because usually they offer them at a reduced rate if you're a student. But I don't believe that the university provides a free account, at least that I'm aware of. If any of you are aware of anything differently, feel free to share it, but I have not heard that. Let's see. The next question is, how can we choose when the start of Jumpstart is on 9/22? Not quite sure about that question. Feel free to repost it. But Jumpstart will begin on that evening, and we've got some great programming that'll happen on Sunday the 22nd. I believe that starts at 11:30 with presidential welcome. And then we have a presidential luncheon where we provide food for all of the families that are here. So come hungry. We'll have a good time on that Sunday. Let's see. I think we already covered the question. Somebody else asked a question about roommates, which Anthony's covered quite a bit. So we're going to skip that one. Students that stay for Thanksgiving or spring break, is the cafeteria open? Excellent question. Anthony, you want to take that one?
The shorter answer is I'm not sure. The university does provide meal options that do help students not go hungry during the break, but that has happened in a variety of different ways. We have had the cafeteria open at times for a portion of it, but each year it's an ongoing conversation that the university has on how to best take care of our students.
Yeah, and I think generally speaking, usually when the university is on break, the cafeteria is not open just because they're actually a separate business that runs that we contract with, and there's just not enough student traction in it to make it worthwhile to have everybody there. So usually it's not open during the break times, but like Anthony said, occasionally maybe we may think of something or be creative with it. And also I think we've also put on some meals for students that are here on those holidays too. So kind of really depends on the year. So if you're going to be a student and being staying over the breaks, make sure you put your ear to the ground and are talking with residence hall staff. They'll usually know what's going on. Let's see. Next question. Anthony, for housing, if I asked to get a roommate assigned, so they already asked for a roommate, should they know by now, or when would they know when that gets approved?
That will happen after we have closed our roommate selection process. Again, these next 48 hours. Even if you have requested a roommate, you want us to choose it, because we're allowing right now individuals who don't mind choosing their own roommate to choose them. Once that period has closed, we'll start pairing roommates up together.
Great. Thank you, Anthony. Next question is, my daughter had a visa last year for 5 years when she was in a high school in Oregon. Now we don't know if she has to renew her visa to change the name of the school. Then they're having trouble reaching the U.S. Embassy and are planning on traveling on September 19th. My best piece of advice is to contact Karen Murcia. Karen is our director for admissions, and she's also our international student liaison. So she can help with getting student visa transferred. A lot of times we can do that. as long as, there's no interruption between her high school years and just coming directly to the school. I think that's how we've normally done it. But I'd say check in with Karen, give it that toll-free number, the 541-8900 number, a call. Ask to talk to Karen, and she can let you know where you're at in the process and what should be doable on our part. And I'm sorry that you're having difficulties getting answers from the embassy. I know that they are pretty overwhelmed usually with questions, so you can kind of wait for a while to hear back. Anthony, where can we find information about worship credits and how much are needed and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be wallawalla.edu/worship that you're going to find out what worship opportunities are available for you. For those individuals that are unfamiliar with the term worship credits or what we're talking about, our university has a minimum expectation for spiritual involvement in our spiritual programming on our campus, and that is attending our spiritual programs that we have created on our campus. And so all that information is provided for you. Again, you can find those expectations on our website, and they will clearly outline, I believe it's 16 worships per quarter that each student is asked to be involved in and participate in. Yeah.
And you can get that pretty quick if you hit every night of a week. You can get quite a few of those credits taken care of.
Right. We offer in the neighborhood between 20 and 25, depending on the year, credits per week that students have available to them. Those are a variety of options. So it's not necessarily that those all happen linearly and you can hit every single one. But in total, that's how many credits we're offering every single week, opportunities for people to be involved.
Great, thank you. Let's see, next question. This one's going to be for you, Carrie. What is the minimum units required per quarter to maintain your scholarship?
Okay, so as an undergraduate student, you'll need to take, to receive your full scholarship, you'd need to take a minimum of 12 credits. However, if you're taking fewer than 12, the scholarship can be prorated down to 6. So if you're taking, say, 6 credits, you'd get 50% of your scholarship. But to get the full amount, 12 credits.
Because 12 to 16 is considered full-time enrollment. And so that also means, right, that you would also get your full financial aid package, all that kind of stuff, which is typically what we base it on because most students are doing 12 to 16 credits.
Right.
What was I going to add something else here about that? I'd say also be careful because your university scholarships are up to 4 years. And so we give you 4 years worth of those. And so if you're taking a smaller amount every quarter, then that might run out before you're finished with your degree. So I'd recommend you take the 12 at least, if not the 16. The 16 should keep you on track to being able to graduate in 4 years, which is what the goal is. Okay. Next question is, do you have to sign up for a move-in time or can you just show up? That's going to be for Anthony.
Yeah, either one works. I think we prioritize our individuals who have notified us ahead of time that they are coming at what time. And part of that's just making sure that we have sufficient room for our individuals who've signed up for a time. You can do that by, again, submitting a request next to your profile there on Housing Cloud, just saying, we'd like to show up at this time. This is when our arrival time is. And we'll do our best to try to accommodate you there. But if your move-in time is in flux and you're not necessarily sure what time you're going to arrive, or if you miss that window, that's okay. Just come to the front desk and we'll try to accommodate you as best as we can.
Great. Next question is, are there many opportunities for a single room, or do we just click on a single room? Is that an option?
So our baseline expectation for individuals is that everybody begins with a roommate. Part of that is to make sure that we have sufficient room for all of our residents to be housed. There are students who have specific accommodations, and we encourage every single student who has a specific accommodation that may require a single room or a room alone to contact DSS, Disability Support Services. Otherwise, probably about 3 or 4 weeks into the school year, once we have settled everything down, it's usually around that 10-day, 3-week mark, we will notify students who have requested a room alone if there are any rooms available. And if we have rooms available, then students can request that, and we do kind of first come, first serve, go down that list, and can move students into a room alone.
Great. Let's see. Next question. Can you drop off and start setting up your room on Friday? So this is Friday before Jumpstart if you are from 400 plus miles away, but not necessarily start staying in the residence hall until Sunday.
So if the question is, can we arrive on Friday and then do we have to wait until Sunday to move in? The answer is no. You can move in on Friday fully and move into your room and set up. If the question is, can I arrive, drop my things off, and then go with my parents somewhere? Yes, but there are some steps into doing that because you have now officially become a resident of the residence halls. And so you would have to go through a process of, which is fairly simple, of filling out a leave, notifying the residence halls that you will not be present until Sunday. And so even though you are officially a resident of the residence halls, you would be on leave and you would be able to go about your business with your parents.
Great. Thanks, Anthony. And Anthony, move-in times, they can start on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. until I think 11:30 when you guys shut down because we're doing the other programs. Mm-hmm. We're going to allow move-ins during that time.
Correct.
And then it resumes at 1:30, right?
Correct.
For the move-in. And 1:30 up until like through the evening, I think.
Correct. Yeah.
Great. Okay. We're getting close to the end of our questions. So if you have a question that we have not answered yet, I'd encourage you to put it in here. We'll all stick around, make sure we get through all of them because we want to make sure we get all of your questions answered that you have. So if we haven't answered it yet, feel free to put it in there. I've just got a couple left on the docket right now. Question, in the meals proposed in the cafeteria, do you have gluten-free options like special bread, etc.? So if you have any dietary restrictions, our cafeteria usually accommodates most of them. And so if that's something you need to make sure that you talk with the cafeteria as well as Student Life, and they can try to arrange for special options. Usually though, like there is a gluten-free option. There's also a vegan option during the meals that students can use because we do have quite a few vegan students. And so there's usually something for everyone that's there. But we want to make sure that we're working with you if you have like any specific food allergies or dietary restrictions. We want to try to help with that. All right, let's see. Next question. This is going to be for Anthony, and this might be the last one unless one comes in. I'm on the housing cloud and do not see my roommate pairing that I told was confirmed. What should I do?
So I would submit a request or send an email to residencehalls@wallawalla.edu. We can verify that. Someone will get on the phone with you and try to figure out what the issue is. That may be an issue that is related to your roommate, whether your roommate has changed their plans, or maybe they are in charge of selecting the room and they haven't done so yet. There's a number of different issues that may crop up with that. Some of those may be technical issues and such. So that's what I would say is submit a request online and someone will get back to you right away.
All right, Anthony, stick around. I got one more. How do I find out who my roommate is if I don't already plan on having a specific person to room with? I know you've mentioned a couple times. If you could do it one more time, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you'll receive a notification that a roommate has been assigned to you. And I think at that time you can pop on there and take a look at them, and you should be able to take a look at their profile and see who this person is and the way that they answered their questions.
Fantastic. And that looks like that brings us to the end of the question and answer period. First of all, I want to thank Carrie and Anthony for sharing with us this evening. And I also want to thank Chris Drake, who I mentioned earlier is behind the scenes, who's been helping us run the presentation software. Also been putting up some of the links as we've been talking. I also want to do a huge thank you to all of you for watching this presentation, particularly those of you that may have watched all three of them. So I hope you don't miss us next Wednesday when we don't have one, but we'll hopefully see you soon. If you happen to miss any of those previous presentations, feel free. You can watch recordings online at wallawalla.edu/workshops. Again, that's wallawalla.edu/workshops. We'd also love to have your feedback about today's presentation. When we sign off, please take a moment to take a brief survey at wallawalla.edu/comment. Again, wallawalla.edu/comment. We'd really like to know what you thought and how we can make this presentation better for the participants next time. And trust me, we read every single one of those. And that's actually helped us with creating some of these ones to make sure we're hitting on the information that is most important to all of you. Also, if you think of something you forgot to ask, maybe in a day or two, you can always give us a call at 509-527-2327, or feel free to email us at info@wallawalla.edu. We look forward to you being a part of our family this fall quarter, and we wish you and your families all the best. And we'll see you soon. Hope you have a wonderful night. Take care.